Giancarlo Esposito joins me now. He directed a picture here at the festival called Gospel Hill, and besides being a director, he's also a very famous actor.
Thank you.
So let's talk about Gospel Hill. Tell us what that's about.
It's a film that takes place 40 years after the assassination of a very prominent civil rights leader here in the United States. Shot in Rock Hill, South Carolina. The film charts the unsolved murder of this civil rights leader 40 years later in contemporary town. We were left with the sheriff who was left behind and looked the other way, and the civil rights leader's son who marched with him and has receded into his shell. The movie culminates during the 40th anniversary of this civil rights leader's death and the gentrification of the part of town in Julia, South Carolina, in the black section of town called Gospel Hill.
And what influenced you to make this film? I mean, we know that the Emmett Till murder was recently reopened and reinvestigated, and that, culminated in big changes in law and whatnot. So did that play into it, or was it something that you'd actively been following?
Well, I've been working on this particular script for 4 years with Jeff Stacy, the original writer, and we came upon a story that we really liked. He brought me the story. I helped him rewrite it. I had no idea that it would be so pertinent at this time. I felt like I wanted to make a film about human beings and healing and moving forward and change that reflected past and present. And in the Deep South, there's been such a deep loss of jobs. There's communities that have been devastated by the advent of technology, and there's no more jobs in America because we don't work with our hands anymore. We become a consumer society, and I wanted to build a story surrounding what we were then and the struggles for equality and what we are now in our struggles to be realized in a technological age.
The cast of Gospel Hill is just incredible. You have Danny Glover, you have Angela Bassett, you have just some amazing, amazing actors, and you have one of the rising stars who we're celebrating here at this party. So tell us about casting your film.
I'm so pleased that Taylor Kitsch is here tonight and being honored as a rising star. He's really was a pleasure to work with, and Danny Glover, Angela Bassett, Julia Stiles, RZA. I wanted to get a demographic of audience that reflected older people, younger people, and middle-class people. And I was really blessed to have some acquaintances who were interested in my work as a director and wanted to work with me on a first-time feature as Samuel L. and Danny, who was one of the people who was inspiring to me in terms of his knowledge of history and technology as well. You know, when we stopped picking cotton, although we didn't want to pick it forever as African American people, the one thing that happened was that we found that when we had a machine that picked cotton, that all the jobs went away. And that's continued to happen with the advent of really wonderful technology. Now we have to find ways to give jobs back. And the cast was wonderful and honored me in doing the movie for nothing, honored me in giving some really wonderful performances, and thus we've come up with a really beautiful gem.
And how did you make the transition? I know this is not your first time directing, but it's a major shift for you.
It actually is my first directorial debut.
I'm sorry, I thought you did a short. I thought you did a short.
No, I've never made a short. This is my first feature film.
Wow.
I'm so proud to step out in such a big way with this. It's a humbling experience. I loved working with the actors and on the script, but I also produced the film, acted in it, and directed it. And so it was a complete labor of love. I felt like Gospel Hill is a film that's been guided. I was meant to do this movie. And it's not your typical civil rights movie at all. It's a film that reflects upon what happened then and reflects upon how the murder hasn't been solved, but also the main thrust of my film is about humanity. It's about a white sheriff and a black man who lost his father years ago, coming to some kind of redemption for what they're feeling and their actions. And it's about racial prejudice and it's about racism, but it's about overcoming that and forgiveness. And truly, I think I've made a film that speaks differently about what we've been through and encourages people to move on to this, what is being seen now as a nation of change, taking back what we've always known as ours, but we haven't spoken up for, and that's for the people and by the people. But before you can do that, you got to release the baggage you've carried for so long. You got to release the idea that they're theys who've oppressed us. You got to realize that we're all in this together and that we're all equal no matter what.
Now we know the film is playing tomorrow night, Saturday. We know the film is playing Saturday night in East Hampton, and you're going to be there to answer questions and talk about it. And then what's next following this screening?
Well, following this particular screening, we're going to Fort Lauderdale. the film festival there because Florida is a real swing state for the Democrats. And it's necessary for me to show this film there to allow people to realize that there is a healing process that can happen from it. Show the film in Memphis. Dr. Martin Luther King took his last breath there. Had a driver who was in Vietnam and looked like a pretty cool guy, but a little scary to me, Republican. He saw the film, he wept. He came to me and he said, you know, you've made a real gem here that's allowed me to look at my whole life and my whole political feeling about my life. And, you know, I finally realized that I may go into behind that curtain and I may switch a different lever than I've ever switched before. That, to me, had me in tears because it meant that, the reason why we make art and create things is the possibility that it could move someone from one consciousness to another. That's a possibility that always exists. And for me, in making film, that's what I'd like. So we go to Florida, to Fort Lauderdale. I pray that we'll get into Berlin and we'll move this film around the country. And then I pray that we have a feature release that will reflect the large message and the depth of humanity that this film is meant to reflect.
Well, congratulations and best of luck. Thank you so much for stopping and talking with us.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be here, and thank you for allowing me some time. And I just hope that people will get out and vote and realize that they still have a voice in this great country, and realize that their voice, the head, the heart, and the hands coming together creates a certain empowerment that is just and righteous and compassionate.
Well put. With me now is Charles Martin Smith, the writer and director of Stone of Destiny, and Kate Mara, the leading lady in Stone of Destiny. And Charles and Kate, welcome.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Thank you so much.
Tell us about this movie, Stone of Destiny.
This is a true story that actually happened in Scotland 58 years ago. And I had never heard about it, actually, until a friend of mine told me about the book. And it's a kind of a heist, it's a kind of a caper, but with a kind of a very interesting, different twist. There's an ancient stone that belonged to Scotland, and all the kings of Scotland would sit on this to be crowned. And this is true, back in the Middle Ages. In 1296, the English took it when they conquered Scotland, and they brought it down to London. So in 1950, a bunch of radical Scottish students decided to stand up for Scottish patriotism, go down, break into Westminster Abbey, and steal it back. And this is the story of what happened.
And how did you end up deciding to do a movie about this? I mean, you're Canadian.
Yep.
Do you have any Scottish blood in you?
Not a drop. Nope, not a bit. I just thought it was a great story, just a great yarn. And I guess, you know, maybe there's a little bit of the student radical in me, and I remember what that's like when you're in university and you have that sort of passion and you know, excitement about life, and you feel like you can change the world. And so I really saw that in this. Whether you're Scottish or not, this movie, I think, will resonate.
So, Kate, what did you think when you were presented with the script? Did you have any first thoughts about this?
Yeah, I mean, I'd never heard a thing about it either. And, you know, I was sent the script and opened it and read about 20 pages, and then I thought, well, I've never heard of this before. Is this a true story? So I went online and kind of researched a bit. And when I found out it was a true story, I immediately sort of fell in love with it and with the characters. And I was just really moved by it. And then, of course, I met with Charles, and then I, you know, completely wanted to be a part of it.
What's next for you? Tell us what pictures are going to be coming out, what you're going to be working on.
I did a movie a couple months ago called The Open Road with Jeff Bridges and Justin Timberlake, and a bunch of Mary Steenburgen's in it. Some great actors. And it's sort of a road trip film.
All right, I have to ask, what's it like to work with Justin Timberlake?
Great. It was great. It was really fun. I mean, all of my scenes were with Justin and Jeff, and the two of them, it's very amusing because, I mean, the ladies love Jeff Bridges, myself included. Oh, yeah. And obviously everybody, even guys, love Justin Timberlake. So to be with the two of them sort of in a car the whole movie was very amusing. It was such a fun thing to be a part of.
Yeah, and Jeff is an amazing actor, and he's just had such a great career and such a wide range of roles.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been a fan of his, and to be on set with him and to sort of see his passion for filmmaking. I mean, he still acts like he's been doing it since he was 9 or something. We were talking about that, and it's just shocking because he really did come to set every day, and he had that energy that it was his first film, and he was that excited about doing it and that excited about acting, and it was just so inspiring to sort of be working with somebody like that.
So that's Open Road, and what else is coming up that you're going to be in?
Well, I don't know what I'm doing next, but we shall see. I don't know when the Open Road comes out, but I think, you know, it was an independent film as well, which I love. The last 3 films I've done were indies. A movie called Trans-Siberian, I think it might still be out actually in New York, but that was another film that I did that just recently came out. So yeah, we'll see.
Well, something that I know is in Kate's future is not really film related, but I know you're going to be at a few Giants games because actually, if her last name sounds familiar, it's because her family owns the Giants.
Yes, they do. We had a really good year last year.
An understatement, yeah.
Yeah, no, one of the many reasons I'm so psyched to be here right now is because when we're all finished tomorrow night with everything, I get to go back home and, you know, go to the Giants game on Sunday, which is always fun because I live in Los Angeles, but my whole family's here in New York, and I try every football season to be here as much as I possibly can.
So how did a young girl growing up in a football organization end up picking up acting?
Well, I mean, I couldn't really be a football player, so
Because you're not big enough.
I could have maybe been the kicker, but no, I don't know. I just sort of, it's what I always knew I wanted to do. As soon as I grew up, my mom is a huge musical theater fan, so I grew up watching like all the old musicals, Oklahoma and Grease, Annie, all the musicals, and so that was just my passion. It always was, and football was something we did every weekend. But you know, I was young and I was girly. I wasn't like a tomboy, but I definitely grew into being a fan. I was a fan just by blood, obviously. But then when I was a teenager and started getting older, I just became really sort of obsessed. And I currently am, I'd say I'm a pretty psycho fan of the Giants.
Hardcore fan of the sure, absolutely.
Yep.
Any football movies in your future?
Well, I've done a
She did
football
one,
film called We Are Marshall. That was a true story as well. Speaking of true stories, and none that I know of. I mean, I love football films, and there's not enough of them that are made. But yeah, We Are Marshall was a really special film for me to be a part of, just, you know, because of my family and everything and the history.
It's flattering, you know, just to be a part of it, and I've never been here, so it's a beautiful place, and it's a good little break from shooting right now, and I'm proud of the movie and what we've done with that, so it's all great, and everything right now is just bonus, you know, so it's great.
Now, the movie is Gospel Hill. Tell us about working on that, and you got to work with one of the great actor-directors that I really like.
Yes, absolutely, Giancarlo Esposito. From the get-go, I think we just kind of we're on the same page with everything from the character to the movie, and it was just a great experience, you know, to watch Danny Glover to Angela Bassett to working with Julia Stiles a lot, and just to see it all come together in the end, and for it to have the message that we set out forth, you know, it just meant a lot for all of us, I'm sure.
Now, a lot of people know you from Friday Night Lights, and how does it feel to go from the small screen to the big screen?
I mean, I don't think it's much different, you know. It's a matter of just portraying the character the best way I can, and you know, if it's going to be on the small screen or the big screen, to me it really isn't a huge difference. I think, you know, working in the film and movies, you get to work with, you know, some of the greats, which I've been so lucky to do so far, so it's there's bonuses to both.
And I heard you inside mention that you model some of your work after Sean Penn.
I do. Yeah, absolutely. He's a huge influence. He's just a real intense guy, and I love watching his work, and I love the power he brings to it and how he can really bring you into any of his roles, and hopefully I can do the same.
What's next for you?
Well, we got Wolverine coming out in May. Still, you know, having fun with this. We are still shooting FNL till end of November. So, and then there's a couple gigs on the burner right now. So we'll see what happens. I can't say yet.
And then what about any plans like your idol there, Sean Penn, to go into directing?
Yeah, I'd love to. Within the next 5 years, I'd love to. That's a big part of what I want to set out to do, but we'll see what happens, one day at a time, right?
All right, well, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Enjoy the festival.
Thank you, I will.
I just have to congratulate you. I thought Flash of Genius was wonderful, and it was your directorial debut, although you've been in the business for a long time.
We don't have to talk about how long I've been in the business, do we? But yeah, well, thank you. It was a true, passion project, something that I loved and was committed to and spent a long time developing, and it's great. It's great to be able to take it out and show people and have the opportunity to provoke conversations about it. So I appreciate your compliment about it.
What brought you to this point in your life where you decided to jump out from behind, from producing, and become a director?
I'd been wanting to do it for a long time. I started out on much more on the creative side of things as a writer for quite a while. And I had been meaning to start directing much earlier, and somehow I started producing movies. And people ask me how you become a movie producer. I said, in my case, a bad accident. But so I just found myself producing more and more movies, and suddenly the time was just spinning through. And by the time I hit 30 films of producing, I thought, if I'm going to quit talking about this, and I'm going to do it. And finally, I love the idea, so I just jumped on this one, and hope I'm doing it again. I love the experience of directing. It was great.
And you got to direct Greg Kinnear, and he is an amazing actor. He really is. He does so much. He's known for comedy, but he just this was a stretch for the imagination of Greg Kinnear, of how we see Greg Kinnear, but it wasn't a stretch for him as an actor, was it?
Well, that's well said. I think the truth is that's a very good way to put it. We catalog people and say, oh, well, that person does this person does that, but in fact, Greg was is a wonderful actor and a very deep thinker and a very focused artist, and was so committed to this idea. And we met and talked for hours, and I knew, and I came away, I said to my wife after the conversation, I said, I do not think I'll be able to get Greg Kinnear out of my mind. He's so right, and he was so committed to the idea that we were going to play this character not as a cozy, likable fellow, but more for the way he was, and that's very important with an actor. You've got to be in sync emotionally and certainly artistically, and he and I were. But I love his performance. It's so subtle and nuanced and true. He's a good guy too.
So I saw Flash of Genius, and I thought it was great. It was a very smart and interesting film, and you played an integral role in that film. Let's first talk about Flash of Genius.
What would you like to know?
Well, you said it's not just a windshield wiper story.
I promise it's not just a windshield wiper story. It's about an inventor, an independent inventor who, in his basement with his kids for years, was trying to figure out the patent, the right circuitry to make the intermittent windshield wipers, which causes your wipers to go at different intervals. And he found it, and he worshipped Ford Company, took it to the Ford Motor Company. They ended up stealing it from him, and he spent the rest of his life trying to take them to court, and eventually they did. And it was just to save his integrity as an inventor and as an individual person, that something was stolen from him by a conglomerate, basically. And he just wanted to fight for his credibility, and he eventually won that. I guess that's the ending of the movie, but you can just Google it anyway if you really want to know.
Well, that's a true story. So you're not giving anything away, but the star is Greg Kinnear, and you play his son. And so what was it like working with Greg? Because he's a fascinating actor.
Absolutely. Greg is a master of the craft. I mean, he's been in it for years, and his roles are so versatile. The one thing I found most interesting working with him is we had one of our first scenes together. He's probably going to hate that I'm saying this, but it was in the coffee shop, and it was me and him one-on-one. This is like him coming back to me to salvage the relationship. And he was working himself to the bone. I mean, I've never seen someone work so hard. So by that time, he's really trying to hang in there. And for whatever reason that day, it wasn't clicking right. It wasn't clicking right. And he would go to the back of the coffee shop, doing something I would do as an actor, getting frustrated and trying to find it. And to see that process is still happening down the road with someone who's such a master was a relief, because it's something I go through now, and I know I'll always go through it, and that's just a part of the craft. And just sitting with him in the courtroom for hours and hours every day, watching him work, I can't begin to describe what I took away from it.
Because your character, of course, is the son of the main character, and Greg Kinnear plays your father, and the two characters go to court together to win back.
Yeah, the whole family ends up getting involved. Dennis, who I play, he was the oldest son. He was the main one that really helped out, but all the kids did. All the kids were there in court every day with him. They were at his house helping. Yeah, and the whole family really pitched in.
Joining me now is Jay Anania and Amy Gossels. They're going to do a reading of Book of Water as part of the 16th Annual Hamptons International Film Festival. And thank you for being here. Tell us about Book of Water, Jay.
Book of Water is a very beautiful script by Bradford Tatum, which was chosen by the festival for the table reading. And it's a biography of Leonardo da Vinci, a very lyrical, kind of wild and ecstatic biography of Leonardo da Vinci.
And Amy, explain to us exactly how a reading works.
Well, it's up to me to find actors that are willing to make a day trip down here, and I send out scripts to dozens and dozens of actors that I know and try to sort of assign the roles. This one was a little bit more challenging than usual because we had 19 roles. So we had to bring down 9 actors to cover the 19 roles. It's an abbreviated version of the script. The script itself is actually rather epic and over 130 pages. And we're doing a 45-minute abbreviated version that really captures the arc of the whole story. And we see Leonardo from his troubled teenage years as an illegitimate son to his years as a celebrated artist. One other thing you should know is that this won the Sloan Foundation grant this year, which is very prestigious, and that's why it's being honored with this reading.
I have the almost entire cast of Book of Water standing behind me, and they are going to discuss a little bit about themselves, and we're going to kick it off right here, right now.
Hello, my name is Joseph Mediette. I've done some regional theater around this beautiful country. Came back to New York to start off the film career. I've done some film, and this is my first time here at the beautiful Hamptons Film Festival.
Hi, my name is Jason Odell Williams. Originally from Baltimore, Maryland. Been in New York 11 years now. I've worked off-Broadway, several independent films and TV, and my first time at the Hamptons International Film Festival as well.
Hi, I'm Van Hansis. This is actually my first time ever in the Hamptons and the film festival, so that's awesome. I'm playing Leonardo in the movie, and or in the reading of the movie. And I, in college, took a class on Leonardo and the Renaissance, so it's good to put your knowledge to use, I guess. I'm on a soap opera. I'm on As the World Turns, and I've done some off-Broadway, and I'm just excited to be here.
Hi, I'm Miguel Feliciano. I studied acting in Philadelphia at the University of the Arts, and I'm here in New York, back in my hometown, to work on film. And this is my first time at the Hampton Film Festival as well. Here we go.
Oh, hello. Hi, I'm John Lenartz. This is my second time at the Hampton Film Festival. The first time I missed my bus and I got here at the last second, and it was a horrible, horrible thing. But this time I almost missed it, but I got there. So anyway, happy to be here. It was fantastic the last time. Great reading, and I feel good about this one too. My career, let's not talk about that, but no, I've done theater and all kinds of other thing, and now I'm an owner of a wine shop, strangely enough. So, yeah. Now I have friends. Yeah, party at my place afterwards. I hope you'll join us. Okay, here you go. Oh, I'm sorry.
Hi, I'm Angela Pietro Pinto. I have a little more years on me than the rest of these guys. So I've done a lot of theater, but I'll stick with the film stuff. People remember me, I think, most from being the mother from hell in Welcome to the Dollhouse. But I'm really a nice person. And this is my third time here. I came to see Little Kings, which screened here a few years ago. And I'm happy to be back.
Hi, I'm Ross Partridge, and I'm actually playing Francesco, which is Leonardo's younger brother, so I'm just going to like step down a little bit. I'm from New York, and this is, I think I've been to the festival a couple times, about 5 or 6 years ago, so it's been a while, but I'm glad to be back. I'm an actor in New York and had a film out this summer called Baghead. So.
Hi, my name is Ian Novick, and I'm really excited to be here. I've been in New York for about a year now. Originally, well, I guess not really from anywhere because I grew up in Japan and I don't really quite fit the billing for that. I'm just really psyched to be here and hope to take in a movie or two. So there you go.
Book of Water, the cast standing behind me, the reading, Saturday at the film festival.